Hello, my name is Andrew White, and I'm the Programme Director for the Advanced Management and Leadership Programme at Side Business School at the University of Oxford. I'm delighted today to be with Professor Michael Smets. Michael's a professor in management here at the school and is going to be talking about leadership on the programme. So Michael, if I could start by asking you, just what areas of research are you interested in? What are you teaching right now? And what do you see really being the important questions for you that you like to focus on?
Thanks, Andrew. In my research, I'm particularly interested in how leaders contend with competing demands. And we've seen plenty of those in the very recent past. Just think about the debates we've had during the COVID pandemic about lives, livelihoods, and liberties. Think about at a corporate level, the contradictions or synergies between profit and purpose. So personally, I'm really fascinated by how leaders transcend this notion of a world of either or and unlock a world of both and. It's this paradox mindset that really fascinates me in my research and also in my teaching.
And I think, as we've seen, some people do this really well, others don't. It can be a really disabler of leaders or derailer, but it can also help them be an incredible success.
Absolutely. I mean, if you manage to square the circle in imaginative ways that others didn't deem possible, then you create a really, really distinctive position for your organization, but also for yourself as a leader. And as you say, absolutely, if you get it wrong, the reputational fallout can be quite dramatic.
Yeah. And that's not just for you, but it's also for the company as well. So if you could talk a little bit about the program and what you'll bring to the program, what are the specific topics that you feel the leaders that come on the Advanced Management and Leadership program really need to know about from your point of view?
Yeah. It's my great pleasure to bring some of our more recent research directly to the program. We did a big study of over 150 CEOs worldwide on what it takes to lead a global corporation in the 21st century. And I've built on this research since, looking at public service leaders in various sectors as well. And two things really stood out for me that have also proven very, very relevant during the recent turbulent times that we faced. And the first one is the role of doubt. Not a word we hear leaders talk about very often, and especially in the context in which I use it, which is the power of doubt. It's the fundamental question of how do we remain able to act and to act decisively at times of insecurity. Very often we talk about confidence, but what we are less likely to talk about typically is that arriving at a position of confidence typically somewhere starts with a moment of doubt, uncertainty, vulnerability. Now, the leaders we've spoken to have found ways for themselves of using these moments of doubt to actually make better decisions. They tell us that the better I doubt myself, the more confidence I have in my decision, and the more conviction I have in my communication. And so unlocking those techniques and really thinking about how can we flip this vulnerability of doubt into a source of strength is really something that has fascinated me in my work with executives over the past few years. And of course, that seems particularly relevant in the times of crisis and uncertainty that we faced over the recent past.
So I think what I hear you say, Michael, is in your session, if I'm a leader and I'm in the midst of wrestling with a really difficult decision or a difficult challenge that my organization is facing, working with you is going to really give me maps, give me a way of understanding those problems or those challenges or opportunities in a way I can better navigate through them.
I'm glad you used the word maps, because yes, we call it the landscape of doubt. Understanding what it is that makes a particular situation so thorny for us, understanding both the intellectual dimensions, but also the emotional dimensions that make certain situations difficult for us, and mapping those in a way that then chart a clearer path forward for us. That is really what we're trying to do. And the key outcome here is that we overcome this loneliness that many, many corporate leaders report on. And it's about how can we share the work of leadership, make it more collective, and make sure that in these difficult decisions that we're all facing, whether we like to admit it or not, we have a stronger team around us and have better conversations to work through those difficult decisions.
And what I really hear coming through from what you're saying is that you're not here to tell leaders what to do. You're here to say, I've studied others. Let me get alongside you. Let me understand what you're going through and see if I can help with some of the maps that I've created from studying the journeys that others have made.
Absolutely. You will not get a lecture from me saying like, this is how others do it. But it is just an invitation to say, look, this is how we've mapped the terrain. This is the map we put in front of you. And we hope that you will find it helpful to navigate your own challenges, your own leadership situations that you're currently facing. But it will always be very, very applied and directly applied to leadership challenges that participants in the program face at that very time. So it's really about whoever is on the program, not about the people who initially talked to us during the research.
Yeah. And just one last question from me. You know, you started studying CEOs a number of years ago. You've seen a lot of changes happening over the last few years, a lot of changes happening in the last year through to COVID. You must see the need for what you teach ever increasing. I mean, do you see that continuing to be the case? That these skills to understand our own emotions, how we process different types of data, how we make decisions. My guess is it's only going to get stronger, and there's going to be more demand for it as the pressures on leaders grow.
We have seen two really big changes over the past year. One is, of course, the interest in navigating uncertainty, but also the willingness of leaders to admit that they don't know. That was a sentence that was really difficult to get out of anyone in charge previous to that. But through the pandemic, actually, we have become more used to those in charge having to admit that I don't know. And your key capability and your key task as a leader in those moments is to give your organization confidence that even though the answer is genuinely unknowable in the moment, you have what it takes to figure out the way forward through that uncertainty. And so the willingness to admit doubt and actually use it as a toolkit, as a catalyst for better decisions, that has seen a massive rise amongst the executives I've been talking to over the past year.
Yeah, and I guess what you're saying is in the same way an athlete has nerves and they use those nerves to their advantage, you're helping leaders who have doubts acknowledge those doubts and use those doubts to their advantage and drive higher levels of performance.
Absolutely. Doubts are for executives what nerves are for elite athletes. Yeah. If you can harness them and if you can leverage them, they will help you reach peak performance. If you do lose control of them, that's when the dangers lurk.
Michael, that's been fantastic. So I hope that's given you all an understanding of what the program brings, the type of interventions we have, the ways in which we help leaders become the types of leaders that are needed in the 21st century to address the challenges that we're all facing. So Michael, thank you. Thank you to all of you for listening, and I hope to see you in Oxford sometime soon.